welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Normark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today I thought that we would make a project. We are going to be using the lovely bright 6x6 designer series paper. Now the 6x6 papers come in all of the colour families, but the brights I think are just so really lovely and cheery. And you've got all sorts of different patterns and things, but it's really nice, bright, easy to use 6x6 paper. And we are choosing the Flirty Flamingo, which is one of the ones in here. So we've got that already out. We are going to be using the Beauty and Joy stamp set, which is a brand new stamp set, which becomes available for customers on the 4th of September. It's in the new holiday catalogue, autumn winter catalogue. If you haven't got yourself a copy, then just drop me a note. There will be links below and I'll happily send you one out because it's full of lovely things. So we're using the Beauty and Joy, which is a lovely set. And we need to start with some cardboard, some chipboard, something sort of heavy. Now, what I use in the back of all our designer series paper 12x12s, there is always some cardboard sheets. I cut them down into 6x6 and this is what we're going to use. So we need to, because I want it fairly sturdy, and although this is fairly sturdy, I'm going to double it up. So I'm going to put 2 layers on, one on each one. So I just need to grab my wet glue because I find that the easiest to work with. And we're just going to, I've managed to pick ones that haven't got any of the writing on. If you cut it into 6x6s, one of them will have the writing on. So I'm actually going to, you can see there's a nice shiny side and then there's a matte side. I'm going to glue the 2 matte sides together because what I want is the back of this to look the nicest. So I'm just going to pop some wet glue on there and then put these 2 pieces together. Because they're exactly 6x6, I can just literally stand them up and I know that they will go together perfectly. So I'm just going to take those edges and then smooth it down, and we've now got a really sort of quite strong piece of designer series of cardstock, so card. Then we are going to take the piece of 6x6 and we are going to cut it to, don't worry too much about the measurements, I will put a link below to my blog and I'll have them all on there, but we're going to cut it to 5 3/4. Okay, so 1/4 of an inch off of each one because we are going to use some black. So I've just cut a sheet of black, which is 6x6, and we are going to glue that onto here. So it's the time of year when we are talking about, particularly us crafters, the dreaded C word. Christmas is coming. And although I don't start my cards normally till later, I do start working on a few projects and things. So this I think will make a perfect little gift for one of my friends, and I will probably make a few of these because they are very simple to do. Don't take up too many supplies because most of it is what we've already got. And you can make them in whatever sort of design you want. So you can see now it's getting more and more sturdy, which is what we want. Now we're going to take the designer series paper. I'm using the check side, so I've cut this 1/4 of an inch smaller. So as I said, it's 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. And I'm choosing the check pattern because I quite like the check pattern. And also, it makes it really easy to line up all the other pieces of this because it's got the lines on for you to follow. So it's really simple to do. Now I just need to make sure that I've got wet glue right up to my edges because I don't want my edges to start peeling away. And then we are going to put this, and it's 1/4 inch smaller, so you'll have to excuse me if my head sort of comes bobbing in because I want to try and get this as accurately as I can, which is very difficult, as I've always said, on camera with the lights. I have to have bright lights so you can see everything, but it does mean that it makes it quite difficult for me. I don't need this scrap paper at the moment. So again, putting up another layer has made it even stronger, which is what we want. Then we need to take a piece of black. So we're doing the 3 colour tones. We're choosing black, and we're choosing the Flirty Flamingo in cardstock, and we're choosing white. Now these layers, I will just get my easiest thing to measure this with, I find, so you can see, is grabbing it across from the side, is the scoreboard, because it has very easy measurements across. So this first piece is 4 inches by 4 inches. Okay, so the second one is going to be 1/4 inch smaller. So 3/4 of it, 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And this one 1/4 inch smaller, so 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. Okay, let me just slide that under my desk in its drawer. Okay, so we are going to layer these 3 pieces together. So let's put this one, whoops, this one on there. I think sometimes putting black mats around just makes everything look just a little bit more, it stands out more, looks a little bit more polished, I think. So I tend to use black mats quite often. So let's see how I'm going to do on this. Are we going to get it accurately in? We're not doing too bad, actually. I normally find, as I say, with my lights, I can't see very easily, so I tend to get it all cockeyed. So let's pop some wet glue on here. But I think that this will make, as I say, a lovely a lovely gift for somebody. And depending on what colours you choose and what stamp set you choose, you can make it for women, men, you know, dad for Christmas, granddad for Christmas. And then this is going to be positioned right up in here, and it's probably going to be fairly tight up. I'm not going to put it straight away down, but I think that's where it's going to go. Okay, so we now need a piece to go down the side. So this piece is going to be, again, you want your black, you want your pink, and you want your white. So the black is going to measure, let's get the old scoreboard out again so you can see it. So the black is going to measure, and I hope you can see this on there, I'm sure you can, is 1 3/4 by 4 3/4. So the Flirty Flamingo is 1 1/2 by 4 1/2, and then the little tiny white panel is going to be 1 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, so that gives us our 3 pieces. Now we want to do something with this piece, so that's where we're going to get our beauty. Let me just move those out of the way. We're going to get our beauty and joy. I so wanted to say beauty abounds, but that's what another stamp set. And we are going to choose this little planter fits perfectly at the bottom. So when you're choosing your stamp sets, you can change the sort of configuration if you want, but I wanted this panel to go down the side and I wanted it to be sort of fairly long. So I'm going to choose Smoky Slate. and just ink that up, and then that can go down at the bottom. Hopefully I will get it straight. You never know. Perfect. Okay, so it fits almost, just a little tiny bit out, but to be quite honest, that doesn't matter. We don't have to have it completely on. It's just once it's matted, it just looks quite nice. So I'm just going to clean this stamp pad off. I'll pop that back in its case, and then we're going to choose the I think I'm going to choose this one actually, because I think that that will work quite well. So this one is, and I'm going to put flowers on it I think, but we'll see. So this one has got a little sort of branch piece. It's all in one and it's very tiny, so what I suggest is put it down first, then take your block to it, because then you'll get it straight, because as you can see it's quite sort of tiny and curved. We're going to use crumb cake for this one. Oh no, that's Sahara sand. I wanted crumb cake. Let's grab the crumb cake. That's better. So we're going to stamp this, which is the connecting pieces of the branch, and we're going to put this one down. Again, excuse if my head comes through, because I want to try and get it. I'm going to put it at an angle and get it down, so hopefully I can get it in the centre. There we are. So we've now got our tiny little sort of branchy pieces in, and then we're going to put the what do they call it, topiary. When you cut trees and shape them into different shapes, it's called topiary. And I've actually done that with a privet hedge. I got a privet hedge when I was probably about 15-20 years ago, shortly after I bought my house, and I bought 4 little privet hedges that were really tiny. They're only a few feet. Well, not even that, probably about 7 inches. And over the years, I've managed to build a reindeer out of them. Might sound a bit odd. I'm hoping that this is going to be right. It might not be, because I'm not too bad, not too bad. Should have been a little bit further up, but that's because I'm trying to do it with my light. So it's not the fault of the stamp, but you've just got a little piece that it should have been just a tiny weeny bit further up. But I think that that looks quite pretty. And I am going to take the Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to take the little flower again, because I really like this tiny weeny little flower. And we're going to put now on this one, you could have, there's this which gives the berries, and you can make that sort of holly berries and things, but I'm going to put little flowers on it because I want it to be more sort of summertime. So let's just pop some flowers in on here, and there's a nice little sort of space, so you can put 3 little flowers along on there, on each one. And then we could, why don't we put a flower at the top like that? Okay, so as I say, it's not designed to be Christmassy. It's designed to be, as I say, a present. And I know that we give presents that have a real Christmas flavour, so our Christmas cards and things like that. But I think that when you give a present to somebody, you want it to be something they can use all year long. And I think sometimes if you make it too Christmassy, they can only really get it out once a year. So this is something that I want to be able to, for them to use all the same time. And I'm going to try and get this up on my shelf without knocking my camera. Look at that. That's a bit successful. Okay, so I want to put May your day bloom. Now, I'm not going to have the with beauty and joy because it's not going to fit on there, but I'm hoping that may your day bloom will just fit on the top of here like that, which it will. So I can get may your day bloom, but I can't get the with the beauty and joy. So there's an easy way to do that. We're going to pop this on here. We're going to take some washi tape and we are going to mask off from where the bloom is. And as I say, because it's fairly tight, just be a little bit cautious. And then I'm just going to put another little piece at the bottom because that needs to take two. I always use any old retired washi tape because it's an easy thing to do. And then I'm going to do it in black. So I'm going to get some good black ink, ink up the stamp well, like that. And then remove the washi tape. Okay, always remember to remove the washi tape, otherwise you end up with a nasty black mess at the bottom where you've taped it over. And then we should be able to put the may your day bloom, which I thought was just quite nice. So hopefully that will be reasonably straight. I'll put that down in there like that, and we've got may your day bloom, which I think is quite nice. So even though this is a tiny, tiny width of paper, it's only, what was it, 1 3/4 inches, it actually works really well on that. So that's our stamping done. Let's just put that back in there and take that stamp set out of the way. Okay, so now we can start putting that layer together. So we've got our black base. We've got our flirty flamingo. My glue running. It's a really horrible, miserable day again today. It's supposed to be the heat of summer, and unfortunately we did have some really lovely weather earlier on in sort of July time. But unfortunately, it started to get really horrible, and it's hammering it down with rain today. It was doing exactly the same the other day, and it's really not very nice. So ideal excuse, when it's lovely weather, all I want to do is to be out in the garden, pottering about in my garden and my greenhouse, and you know, tending all of the lovely plants and flowers and vegetables and things which I grow. As soon as it gets wet and miserable, all you want to do is to be tucked away in your craft room or craft area. And then I'm going quiet because I've got to try and line this up. But I think I might be. Look at that. It's pretty impressive. Okay. So you've got May Your Day Bloom, and you've got that on that lovely little panel. Okay, so now we can bring our base bit back in. Let's just put that top on the glue. And so we are going to put this, I think it's going to have just 1/8 of an inch at the top like that. This piece is then going to come in down here, and this is actually going to go up with dimensionals because it is going to come almost to the edge of this piece there with 1/8 of an inch border. Okay, then we want to put some words and things on there. So I have taken from, which I absolutely love because you can personalise anything, the hand lettered prose dies. These dies have got your full alphabet, so your full alphabet in lowercase, which is lovely. And then you've got exclamation marks, question marks, hashtags, and also it's suitable for any of our European countries because you've got all of the different, I don't know what they're called, but circumflex and all of those bits that make up your language properly. That you can put in there. So they are really, really worth getting. They're available now I will leave a link across so that you can have a look. And if you are in Austria, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands or France, you can buy through from my shop. So please feel free to do so. So we're going to put this, I always line everything up first. We're going to put this here, and that's going to go with dimensionals because that is going to just overlap a little bit, but it should be fine on there, and I'm going to bring that down. Then I have taken the letters. So the letters I've put are notes, and with all the letters what I do is I do several layers because I like them to stand out a bit. So this is in black, and then I've done two just in white because you don't need to use anything particularly special. And then we're going to put these, I'm just making sure that it comes to the right level because that T is a little bit big, so I might have to bring that down a bit, but it is going to fit like that. And then the E and then the S. So I just need to make sure that I've got this. Yes, that's going to work perfectly. Okay, so I can put this piece on first of all. So this is just going to be glued on. So let's put some glue around the side here. I'm going to put a reasonable amount on here because this is where the post-it note's going to go. So I want this to be 1/8 of an inch across on there. So you can see one little check line down will take it perfectly. So you don't have to worry about lining it up, which is why this check is quite nice for people like myself that that don't always get it lined up. Okay, so we're then going to put this piece on. This is going to go on with dimensionals because I want just a little bit of height on there. So let me have a look and see. I want my large dimensionals or standard dimensionals. We actually do black dimensionals coming up soon, so that'll be quite exciting. If you're doing things for, oh, I don't know, Halloween or something where you're using black cardstock like this and you don't want the dimensionals to show, we're going to be doing black ones, which, as I say, I think is wildly exciting. I don't know whether I will get them myself. I'm not too fussed about having white dimensionals, but then I don't tend to put the dimensionals right up to the edge. So I can see that if you're doing a project where it's using a lot of black, as I say, Halloween and things like that, I think the black dimensionals will be very handy. And it's just something else that we do in our crafty store. So right, so this one is going to come, and I want it to come sort of down a bit. I don't want it to be completely uniform. So I'm going to take it down a few, and it is going to come so that it is one across, which means that this piece is going to come right up against that side there, and then it's going to come down there. So that gives a nice bit of dimension on there and puts it up beautifully. Now, before I put the notes thing on, yes, no, I'm going to do that bit next. So let's lay these letters out. I always try and lay things out first, because if you start and then you suddenly go, whoops, that should have been a bit higher or a bit lower, you're stuck. Now the T is my biggest letter, so I need to make sure that that lines up perfectly, because it's going to fit literally top to bottom on there. Fits perfectly, and then so the other letters are going to have to come a little bit lower down. So that's my E. And that's my S. So you can see how I need to bring it down a bit. So that needs to come onto there, that needs to come onto there, like that. Okay, so that's about right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the T down first, because the T is the one which, because it's the largest letter, I need to make sure that that is exactly where it needs to go. And you can see, because I've done several layers, it's very easy to mount it. And also it gives just that extra little bit of dimension on there, which I like. I do like when the letters are a real focal point. Okay, so that's going to go there. Let's just pop it down. So I want it so that it comes just up from the bottom, equally spaced in between there. Okay. So that one works perfectly. Then I can build the other letters up around it, because there's 2 on either side. So I know that I can then get fairly evenly spaced. If you're not somebody who's a very good spacer like me, it's just a little tip. If you take your center letter first, you can then get the other letters lined up a bit better. So I'm going to take this one. I'll get it all cockeyed now, but there you go. I do like working on projects sometimes. And I think it's one of those things, once you've sort of got everything together for this, I think it'll make a really nice project. So that came down onto there, didn't it? So I can actually follow this line and put this one down on there. So that's my N. Pop the O in between. I think I'm getting near the end of my wet glue, my Tombow. Tombow is such my favourite glue. Okay, so we need that sort of evenly spaced between the two. And if you line the bottom up like that. And then we've got our E and our S, so our S is fairly tight on there. So I'm going to do the S next. A little bit of glue on my fingers. That's the only trouble with wet glue. You tend to end up sticking yourself to everything. Right, let's pop that on there. And then this one is going to come. So again, it needs to come fairly low down, it's got to be the same level as the others, and just a little bit of a space from there. So that can go in like that, and then we've got our little E on there. Yes, I thought I would make a start with some of the little Christmas ideas. Or craft fairs as well. It seems to be as soon as the weather starts to change, everybody's out doing the craft fairs and things. So stocking stuffers, as they call them, or just little gifts. If you're like me, I have quite a few female friends that I like to give gifts and things to. Okay, so now we've got that bit sorted. What I did was I found fairly recently, which is why I decided to use the Brights, these post-it notes, and what I've done is they're quite easy to separate out, so you can separate them into the colours, and I thought, well, that one would work with the Granny Apple Green. That will work with one of our bright pumpkin pie, or you know, a bright orange. This will work with any of our pinks. And so that's why I got it. And because it's a whole pack, it means that you can split it down. You can make quite a few. So what I've done is I've taken not a huge amount, because I didn't want a great big huge amount on there, because I'm going to put magnets on it. But I thought that it was quite bright and vibrant. This is why I chose the blacks, because my my post-it note is very bright. You can put white post-it, you can put whatever post-it note you want on there. So what we need to do is we need to just glue this on the back. The other thing as well is that when you get to the end of it, you can always stick some more over on the top. So I'm just going to put some glue on here. just along the bottom like that, and across, and then that can go in the center. It says to me, let's bring it down here so I can see where my center is, which I hope that's about right. Yes, it is. Okay, so then we can just press that down. So you've then got your post-it note on there. And then, because we have, I wanted this to go on a fridge, I'm going to put, so I'm just going to turn it over, and I'm going to run some, I've got this magnetic strip, which is quite good. So you can run the magnetic strip down on there. I just need to get some scissors and just cut that down. So I'm just going to put a couple of strips like that across there. And then, as I say, you can pop it down on your, so I think probably 2 will be fine actually. So let's take that the same size as that, shall we? Should have measured it. I suppose it's probably about 5. If that's 6 inches, it's probably 5.5 inches, something like that. I've just sort of guesstimated it because it really is only the bit that that sticks it onto the fridge. If you don't want it as a fridge one, you could always put hole punch on there and have it as a hanging one. You could always just have it as a desk one. It's entirely up to you. I wanted this to be a fridge one because I'm always writing little notes and things, and you know, shopping lists and things. I tend to always have something on my fridge, so I knew that that would be useful. So we'll have one like that, and we'll just put the other one on there like that. These are quite good. These are just sort of self-adhesive peel ones. In fact, I can't even remember where I got them, from some craft shop somewhere locally. And we'll put that one just there. Okay. So that will then, as I say, just stick onto your fridge, and you've got something where you can put all your notes and things like that in. But I really love the combination of the black and the Flirty Flamingo, and as I say, these bright, vibrant post-it notes, I thought just made it a little bit of fun. So I hope you enjoyed the project today. As I say, all of the details and things will be over on my blog, so do have a look at the link below. Thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.